everyone, and welcome back to our Golden 20s podcast. My name is Sadie, and I'm joined by my co-host Tegan. And today we are talking all about our work essentials in the spirit of back to school season, ? I feel like, I don't know about you, Teg, but I love back to school season. And I remember being sad that I wasn't going back to school and being like, oh, I can't like participate in going to Staples and buying all my back to school supplies. But I feel like even if you're not headed back to school, there's some sort of fresh start and fresh season. Even if you're returning to the office and you're working either part-time or full-time. So that's what today's episode is all about. It is back to school, but for adults. And yeah, we're going to be sharing all of our favorite work essentials for going to the office, but also for working from home. So if you are, have that itch to go back to school shopping, but for the office, hopefully this episode inspires you.
Yeah, I love this. When I was doing research for this episode, I came across an article that was like, the best like back to school or back to work supplies you can pretend you're shopping at the Scholastic Book Fair.
Oh, the best.
It's just like, yeah, I love that. And I do definitely, I feel like every year I'll buy like a couple little supplies, whether it's like a planner or like really, really small things. And I'll always get something that's like little and silly that like they would sell at a Scholastic Book Fair. Like one year I got sticky notes in the shape of cats, or every year get like a different like stress ball or something, like something silly that's just like to bring the vibes.
Yeah. Spark some joy. We love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, before we jump into all of that, let's do a connection card.
Yeah. We're still in the pink category. So this question is, what is my most attractive character trait? I don't know if we should answer about ourselves or answer like about each other.
Maybe, oh gosh, maybe both.
But I don't even know what that means. Like,
I
character
feel
trait.
For me, I would say it's my laugh. Like I'm constantly laughing, and it's not that I have like a good laugh. I actually don't think I like have one of those like unique contagious laughs. Like that's not what I'm saying, but I feel like I just laugh all the time where people
You're joyous.
Yeah. Well, I guess, but I just like don't take myself seriously, don't take other people seriously. And I feel like people really like that about me because it allows them to be more themselves around me. Like,
yeah,
I just started a new job a couple months ago and people are so serious in work meetings. And I'm like, guys, it's okay to like smile and laugh and have fun, like if something is ridiculous, I laugh. If something is stressful and I'm anxious, I laugh. If something's like truly funny, like my team is so good at finding the perfect gif for any like Teams chat conversation we're having, I'm like laughing, like I feel like that's my answer. I don't know if it's accurate and what other people would say, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. And then I spent the whole time just listening to your answer and thinking about your answer, but now I haven't thought about mine at all. So that's great.
Well, thanks for attentive listening. Maybe that's your best trait.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is interesting. Actually, I had to do this like personality test for work, and I'm going to pull up the answers right now just because I thought it was very interesting. But basically, so it was just like testing your strengths. It was a really long test. It took me like 45 minutes. But it says that I'm like a people person and my number one strength is empathy. So I can sense other people's feelings and imagine myself in their lives or situations, which I thought was interesting and definitely true. It does sometimes like make me into like a people pleaser or makes me like overthink other people's reactions. When I'm like, I should just worry about myself. Why am I worrying about like this person's reaction or whatever? But then I was like, that is true, that I think it makes me empathetic. And yeah, I have a hard time, not necessarily a hard time, but I do feel bad for people a lot, especially like we're watching Love Island. And oh my God, I'm like, I feel so bad for these people. And it's like so silly. Even like growing up, I remember watching TV shows like Lizzie McGuire, and if there was an episode where a character did something embarrassing, which was like pretty much every episode of Lizzie McGuire, I like sometimes would have to turn off the TV because I would just be like, oh my God, I feel so embarrassed for Lizzie.
Yeah.
So it is, yeah, that is definitely a part of me. I don't know if that's good or bad though.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely good. Like, I feel, especially in the workplace, like having empathy, leading with empathy, like that's very much the direction company cultures are starting to take rather than like hustle, hustle. Now it's all about empathy. So I feel it's good, but I hear you completely. I was resonating with what you're saying because I also find that I am sometimes like too empathetic or like empathetic to a fault where I'm like, I just feel so many emotions and half of these emotions aren't even mine to feel, you know?
Exactly.
So it's hard. Yeah. It can feel like a fault, but just reinforces like having to set boundaries with your empathy, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm guilty of like other people's feelings becoming my feelings.
Yeah.
Like if someone else is mad, I'm like, why do I feel like mad, or someone else is stressed, then I'm stressed. And I'm like, okay, we need to not have that.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know if this is related, maybe, but I've been thinking so much, so random. And you're going to be like, Sadie, why are you thinking about this over there in your apartment all by yourself? My favorite thing about Tegan, this is again what I've been thinking about lately, is how non-judgmental you are. And I feel like part of that could maybe be like empathy, where you're like, I feel for people, therefore I don't judge them. But I was watching an episode of Sex and the City where it was all about like judgment and Samantha feeling judged by Carrie. And I don't know, it was just kind of about that. You know that episode I'm talking about?
Yes.
So
where she blows the mailman.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And obviously Samantha was dealing with her own shit in that episode and like projecting. But in any case, Samantha's known to be like the non-judgmental friend. And for some reason I was just thinking like, out of my group of friends, who would I tell like my deepest, darkest secret to, knowing they wouldn't judge me? And I feel like that's you, Tag, because I feel like anything I say to you, you're just like, okay, cool. Like, and it's not that you're like, I don't know, that makes it sound like you don't like listen when you are a really good listener. Yeah. And like you do care. It's just like you're not ever like, oh my God, or like so opinionated one way or another, where I feel like I'm always have an opinion and like wear it all over my face. So it's not even that I am aware I'm judging people, but I do, you know, where I feel you're just like pretty chill. You're open to like anything. If somebody tells you something, you're like, okay, well, let's deal with it. Like you're never, I don't know.
That's very kind. I do find that sometimes I'm not solution oriented. I'm like just sitting in the vibes. Yeah. So sometimes it's good to have the people who are then like, okay, like I get that things are like shitty, but let's come up with a plan. Or it's like not that deep. Let's figure it out. So I think I agree. But yeah, sometimes I do think I can get stuck in just like the vibes.
And maybe that's why I appreciate it so much, because I am always so solution oriented. Like I've had to have conversations with other friends to be like, are you looking for advice or no? Because I immediately jump into giving advice. And then I take on these problems as my own. It's exhausting. I can't do this. Like, I'm way too invested in your life. So you need to tell me, are you looking for advice or just someone to rant to? So I feel like maybe that's actually why I appreciate your like approach so much, because it's kind of opposite to what I do. And I need that more than like somebody coming in as like hot and heavy as I do.
Right. Yeah. No, I get that. Tyrell's the same, where he's very like, okay, so let's come up with a plan. And I'm always like, I don't want a plan right now. Like, I just want to tell you what's happening, right? Yeah. So, yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And I feel like our answers both talked about like us in our personal lives, but also in our work lives. So I feel it's
True.
Kind of a segue, I guess, into us as working corporate girlies and our essentials for being successful in the workplace. So I think just to recap, we've had many, many work episodes in the past, but
Yeah.
in case you guys aren't aware, I think maybe Tag, we could just start by like saying what we do for a job, and then if we work
Sure.
from home, in the office, maybe that sort of thing, just to like paint a picture.
Yes, sounds good. So I am a project manager and content specialist at an ad agency, and we specialize in like digital marketing. And I work fully from home. I will go in like every once in a while if we're having like a party or something, but it's maybe like seasonally, so not very often. Obviously, before the pandemic, I was working and going into the office every single day. So I do know what that's like. I am going to like give some suggestions of things you would need for that. But my life right now is all work from home.
Has your company talked about going back to the office, or are they like, no, we don't need to, we're good?
Yeah. So everyone except for the people on my specific team
Oh,
works from the office.
Okay.
I think 2 or 3 days a week. The reason that my team can't is because we have like desktop computers, not laptops.
right.
So we would either need to be fully in the office or fully remote. And our office is actually where my boss lives. So then she would have to be like there every single day. So it just like doesn't work. They have also implemented a new like work from anywhere thing into our contracts. So like some people have been working like from Spain and things like that. So it's very fluid, very flexible. I do not want to work from the office, but you know, it is a possibility that one day my boss would just be like, okay, everyone's coming back to the office. Like that, I wouldn't really be surprised. But currently, as it is, I am still 100% work from home. And a lot of our team members have actually moved away. So some of them live in Hamilton. One moved to Saskatchewan. One lives in Victoria, BC.
Wow.
So yeah, it would be like
hard.
a thing
Yeah.
to change it.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, I'll jump in and give you a quick background on me. So, like I mentioned, I just switched jobs at the end of May, and I'm now working as a paid social manager at a big retailer here in Canada. And we own like multiple brands within Canada. So it's like a little bit of home improvement, a little bit of fashion, a little bit of like sporting goods, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's what I do. I'm managing a team now, which is a huge step in my career. I went from managing 2 people at my last role to managing now a team of 7, and I'm going to be hiring 1 more person. So I had the absolute worst imposter syndrome starting this job, being like, oh my God, am I sure I'm qualified for this? Also, it's just such a big business with all of those like brands and stores that operate under like our parent company, that it was also just like, oh my God, what were they thinking when they hired me? But 3 months in, I'm feeling a lot more confident, and I know it's exactly where I'm meant to be. That being said, I'm in the office twice a week, which was a change for me. I was previously completely work from home, but why I started looking for a different job was because I wanted to go back to the office. And I think I've talked about that in previous episodes before, where just working from home was like isolating since I live alone. And I don't know, it was just really starting to take a toll on me. So I'm happy to be back in the office. It was a little bit of an adjustment, I think, where I was like so tired after my office days for the first month, plus just absorbing so much information, battling those imposter syndrome thoughts that I was having was also like a full-time job. But that being said, I'm really happy to be back at the office. I go every Monday, Tuesday. So it's kind of like at the start of the week, we knock out the office days, and then the rest of the week can just be cozy work from home. But yeah, that's kind of what I do.
I love it. Yeah, there are elements of the working from an office that I miss, specifically the like getting home after a day of work. So that's, I find the biggest drawback for me. Now, like I don't live alone, so I don't miss like the social element of work, which I know is a big complaint from people, but I'm like, I just miss coming home, like changing into cozy clothes and being like, it's rest time.
Yeah.
Don't currently have that vibe. So Yeah, I
Yeah.
miss that.
This is going to sound so weird, but I've remembered that one of my simple pleasures in life, like one of my simple joys, simple pleasures in life, is the morning commute. And I know that is
Hmm.
such a hot take, but I take transit, so I don't need to worry about like morning traffic. I also take the subway, so again, like no
Hmm.
traffic at all. Obviously, there can be like delays and stuff on the subway, but for the most part, it's pretty seamless. Takes me like 20 minutes, but it's just like the subway train smells like coffee versus like the end of the day, it smells like sweaty people. People are like half
Hmm.
asleep, reading the paper, reading their book. Like it's very chill vibes because everyone's still half asleep commuting to the office versus commuting home and like that end of day like rush. It's people are like so
Yeah.
rammy, they've had a bad day, they're eager to get home. Like I said, it just like smells like sweat and stress. Like I don't know. But I'm like a Monday morning on the commute, like on my morning commute on the subway with my little coffee tumbler. I don't know. It's just
Hmm.
one of my simple pleasures that I'm happy to be reconnected with.
I love that.
Yeah. Gotta romanticize it, right?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Okay, well, you guys are like, stop yapping. We want to hear your work essentials.
Do
So let's
you even
jump
know
into
us?
it. Tag, do you want to kick us off with some of your work essentials?
Sure. So the first thing I thought of was some like work from home work essentials. This obviously won't apply if you are going into an office, but two things that I love in my setup is one, I have a standing desk,
Oh, yeah.
which is awesome. I really love it, especially if you're trying to make meetings faster. Be like, I'm going to do all my meetings standing, and you will be surprised at how fast you whip through those meetings. So, wanted to mention that, recognizing that they can be quite expensive, but I really love mine. And related is a really comfy chair. You like, I feel underestimate how much time you spend working until you're like sitting in a bad chair and your back hurts. So, again, this is something that can be really expensive, but I think it's worth it. They say that you should splurge on anything that like keeps you separated from the earth. So it's like shoes, mattresses, chairs, just because like you sit in it for 40 hours a week, except for when you're standing at your standing desk. So definitely something that I love. Obviously, if you're working from an office, they probably supply your desk and your chairs for you, but I love anything that makes your setup more ergonomic. I even have like a mouse pad that has like a little wrist thing, little things like that. I really appreciate.
I love that. Let's start on a practical note. I love it.
Yeah.
I think my work from home, just to like add to the practicality and work from home setup, I would add a second monitor, which I think we both use.
Mm,
Tag, you might even have like
yeah.
multiple monitors over there, just based on the type of work you do. But this was something, so when I first started working from home, that was like 2 jobs ago. I did not have a second monitor. However, when I was at that job in the office, I had 3 monitors, like 2 monitors in my laptop. But when I started working from home, they didn't supply a second monitor. I never asked for one, and I was fine. But then I moved companies to where I was previously, and they provided me a second monitor for work from home. And I was like, wow, this is great. I forgot how great this is. And then when I switched
Mm,
companies again, they were like, we're actually backlogged on monitors, so we can't like order you one until I don't know, they're restocked, they
mm,
have more. I don't know what the situation was. So they were like, we'll get you one, but it's just going to take a while. So I was like, no problem. I'm just going to work on my laptop until then. And I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I have no
yeah.
idea how I did that, like at the peak of the pandemic, especially doing the work I was doing where I was like setting up ads. I needed like one
Mm,
screen for my campaign tracker and my files, and then the other screen for like my Facebook like ads manager where I was actually setting up the ads, whatever that situation looked like. But in any case, I purchased my own second monitor for the first time ever because I couldn't wait for the company to provide one. So it's just such a game changer once you have it. Even if you don't think you need it, maybe like try it out and you might be surprised how much of a game changer it is. And then second to that is a wireless mouse. So again, when I'm just like doing work on my personal laptop, I'm not used to using a second monitor, never use a mouse, like an external mouse. But again, for work, I tried an external mouse and I was like, yep, I definitely need to do this for every job. If it's company's mouse or my mouse, whatever, like it just makes things so much easier. And it's probably way better for my hand than like having a claw using the mouse pad on my laptop.
I love that. Yeah, these are things I literally forgot were not normal. Because I have
so, and this is why, I had to mention them because there might be people like me who are like, oh no, I don't need those things. But then if they are like me, no, you just need somebody to tell you these are game changers. But then, yes, there's probably people like you listening, Tag, being like, obviously.
That's funny. Yeah, definitely need like a wireless second mouse. If you're using a laptop, like get a dedicated keyboard. I know like they have the laptop stands. I'm all about that life, the second monitor. And like tip, if you're using Macs, if you have an iPad, you can actually set that up as a second monitor.
Yeah, good
so
call.
Sometimes I'll use that just for like, not things you have to look at closely, but I'll put like my Spotify on there or my calendar or like things like that. So yeah, definitely agree. I think related to like the technology you need, a good pair of headphones and whatever that means for you is super important. And obviously this varies like depending on what your work is. I have to use like over the ear headphones because I'm working with audio a lot. So I will just use like expensive over the ear ones. Some people love like the wireless ones. Some people love noise canceling. Like if you're someone who's really distracted by noise, that can be essential. Some people like just the little AirPods because you want to be able to like move on the go and have like a little mic, all those sorts of things. So definitely a nice pair of headphones.
Yeah. I swear by my AirPods. I feel like my AirPods are probably the most used technology I have outside of my phone. But I love it just because it's so easy where I can use them for work calls, but also just for, again, that morning commute that I was romanticizing, listening to a podcast, some sort of chill playlist, or the commute home at the end of the day, blocking out all the rage going on around you. But yes, I agree with headphones. I think the only other kind of like technology related-ish thing I had on my list was blue light glasses. So we were just talking so much about working from a small screen for years, but regardless how big your screen is, I feel like blue light glasses, I don't know. At first I was kind of skeptical. So first of all, I need glasses anyway, and I need my glasses for distance, but I found wearing them on my computer really helped because I was getting really bad strain headaches. And when I got new glasses, they were like, oh, do you want to add blue light to it? And they were like, we don't know if it does anything. Literally, the girl was like, I don't know if it does anything for the computer, but I find it makes a difference when I'm driving at night. And I was like, sure, might as well. Let's throw it in there. And I actually do think it helps, like even using it to look at my phone before bed. Like, I don't know the science behind blue light glasses, but I do notice a difference. So wanted to mention that. You can also get non-prescription blue light glasses if you're not somebody who typically wears prescription glasses. So just wanted to put that on the list.
Yeah, I have a pair that I always forget to wear because I have to take them off if I'm doing any color grading or color correction and then forget they exist.
Interesting. Oh my God. I'd never thought of that because I've noticed, like, I'll sometimes be like, oh no, I don't notice a like color difference wearing my blue light glasses. And then I'll take them off and I'll be like, oh my God, it's so like different. So I never thought about, your editing and color grading.
Yeah, but I do like them. I find, especially if I'm working with, like, say I'm doing like 8 hours of captioning videos where I'm looking at text on like moving videos. I wear them then because I find that it helps with like headaches. But that's just for me, like looking so closely at the screen.
Okay. So there must be something in this blue light methodology because obviously there is, or else it wouldn't be such a thing. But I was always like, is it because I need glasses, period, or does the blue light help? And the fact you don't wear glasses typically and find it helps. This concludes my research on the topic.
Study is done. 2 people, it worked. That's funny. I think as far as things for like going into the office, my like number one thing, my biggest recommendation is to find a work bag that works for you. So whether it's like a backpack or a tote, It's got to be a bag that can fit all of your things, that's comfortable for you to wear, easy for you to take around. I love ones that have like a lot of little pockets so that I can be like, okay, my wallet's in this pocket and it's in there every day. My keys are in this pocket, because I'm the kind of person on my morning commute where I'm like a zombie, and I will get home and be like, where did I put all my things? But if they have like dedicated spots, I can find them.
Yeah, I second a good work tote. I don't know. The one I've been using is just from Oakenfort, which is a Canadian brand. Pretty sure they're available in the States as well. If you're a Toronto girly, chances are you also have the work tote from work tote. Yeah, from Oakenfort. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, but in any case, it's just like a really cute bag and it fits your laptop. It has two pockets on the outside, so I always put like my bus pass and my work badge, my phone in there, like for easy access stuff. But I also have the Bays work tote, and I think it's the mini size. My sister just got the like regular size, which people say is quite big, but she seems to really be liking it so far. I feel like my quick review of the Bays work tote is it's very stylish. I do find it kind of falls off my shoulder, like the long strap falls off my shoulder when I'm wearing a coat,
Right.
which that is 90% of the time when you're living in Canada. And I find it's very heavy. That being said, I maybe can just fit a lot of stuff in it, which makes it heavy, in which case that's a good thing, like it's spacious and fit
Right.
stuff. But I think my biggest complaint with both of these, which is going into my other work essential, is that I can't fit my lunch in a work tote. So I also recommend getting a like lunch bag of some sort. The one I have is actually quite cute. It doesn't really look like a lunch bag, so I don't feel like a loser on the subway with my like little lunch bag like I'm going to school in primary school. But mine's from Anthropology, but I've seen the same ones at Winners or TJX, whatever it is, wherever you're listening to this. And they're just cute. Mine has a long strap, so again, I can throw it over my shoulder, or it has a short strap where I can carry it like a little lunch bag. It's double insulated. It fits so much stuff. So I think a lunch bag is key for not buying your lunch out every day, especially if you're in the office multiple times throughout the week. You keep those costs low, so take your lunch to work, and having a good lunch bag, as well as like food containers, like to pack your lunch, and maybe like a cutlery set that just stays in your lunch bag so you never forget a fork. I think those are how to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, definitely. I think related to that, a good water bottle and one that doesn't leak, because you're going to need one that you can just like throw in your bag and it won't be a problem. So like when I first started working, I had a Swell water bottle. I know that there's all these like these ones they sell at Target and stuff that are all hip and cool that I don't know, but I think just like any water bottle that doesn't leak, if it can keep your water cold, that's great. Because like the water cooler talk is an essential of work. It's just nice when you need a break to be like, I'm going to stretch my legs, I'm going to fill up my water bottle, whatever it is. And I also like to bring an office mug for like my coffee or my tea, anything, and I will like keep it there so that I have like my little setup of, if I need water, I've got my water bottle. If I need coffee, I've got my like work mug. Mine has like a matching coaster, so then I can put anything on the
Fancy.
coaster, and that's like the vibe. Yeah.
I love that. I think I don't have a work mug anymore since I'm only in the office like so many times a week, but I do take my coffee tumbler every day, and I'll use it throughout the day if I need like a midday slump coffee. And like you're saying about the water cooler talk, I feel the same about like grabbing coffee. We have really nice coffee machines on a different floor than the floor we sit on. So it's nice to be like, yeah, do you want to go for a walk and have just like casual chats, go to the good coffee machines, things like that. But I think again, in the effort of saving money, not buying coffee out every morning or every midday slump hour that strikes, bringing your own coffee tumbler is definitely a good solution for that. And then, sorry, just going back to the work tote, because I forgot to mention one thing. I also swear by having a good laptop sleeve. Again, this is so nerdy, But I don't know. I just feel like people are like, oh, it's my company laptop. I don't need to take care of it and just throw it in my purse and away we go. But for me, I always feel
Yeah.
weird doing that. So I got like a cute aesthetic laptop sleeve that protects my computer. But yeah, I don't know, still fits in my work tote and everything.
Love that. Yeah, I'm a fan of all the little compartments. Like my headphones have like a little bag they go in. So I'm like headphones in
Yeah.
the little bag and the little bag in the bigger bag. And yeah, definitely agree with that. Another thing I always bring with me to work is a pen holder. And this is like very random, but I just find that pens all over your desk instantly becomes like messy and makes your desk look like a disaster. So I have like a little cheap pink one that I bought, I think for university, that I'm still using, that I bring for like every single job. It just has like two compartments, and it's just a good way to keep my desk clear. You can put anything in it because like you get given so much random stuff. I get given so many like branded pens or whatever it is. So I love to have that on my desk and then just have all of my pens away. And then it's also easy. Like if your pen dies, you know, you have a stack right there. You can just grab one.
Yeah, I love that. When you said little bags and bags inside of a bag, it made me think of how I have like a little personal care pouch in my work tote as well. And I don't know if I've always done this, but since returning to the office with my new job, I make sure to always have just like essentials on me in case I need them, especially since I
Yeah.
don't carry a purse in addition to my work tote. So if you typically carry a big purse, chances are you have these types of things on you already. That's just girlhood, I feel, but this is like things like Advil in case you get a headache halfway through the day or bad cramps. Also having tampons and pads in case of an emergency, you or a coworker, having tissues, band-aids. Like the worst is if those new shoes that you're wearing to the office are giving you blisters and you don't have a band-aid. Like you probably want one. Could also be hair elastics or bobby pins, mints, shout wipes, or I just discovered shout wipes actually from Target, and I am obsessed with these. They are like tied to go, but way easier to use. So I've been loving my shout wipes and taking those everywhere with me. Again, just in case. It could also be floss if you're a flosser. I am not a flosser, but it's like if you're having a work meeting and you have something in your teeth, like it's nice to have something to deal with that with. And then maybe too, again, this really is dependent on if you're this type of girl or not, but if you're going to like out for dinner and drinks after work, maybe you also put some of your like basic makeup items in there to touch up between work and your social events in the evening. But all this to be said, I like to have a little personal care pouch in my work tote, and that's some of the items that you can find in mine.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like when I came back from the office, like once COVID started, there was so much just like random stuff in my purse that I was just like, it's so weird that I get to unpack this all now. But yeah, definitely agree, especially with like simple stuff like even travel, like deodorant. I'm a sweaty gal, like mints, those sorts of things. Definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think another thing that's an essential for me is a notebook or a to-do checklist. It kind of depends on your role, but having a notebook so that you can write down anything and everything. Like my first day on a job, I'm just writing like a maniac, everything down, my like new passwords I'm setting, things I'm supposed to be doing, people's names, whatever it might be. And the company I work at does time tracking, so I write down all of my like time spent on things in my notebook. My to-dos can be in the notebook, things like that. This could be a planner. It could be like one of those checklists, whatever works for you, but definitely an essential for me.
Yeah, I echo that. I use a to-do checklist, so just like a notepad essentially. But yeah, Tag, I'm curious, how do you take meeting notes if you do take meeting notes? Do you write it like in your
Yeah,
notebook or do you like type it up?
we type it up. So we have like a little meeting note template, and I
Oh,
channel my university days and I write everything word for word. And then we have like our action items at the end and our like major takeaways and all that stuff. And I go through and I assign everyone their action items. And then like we have a task assigning platform that we use. So I go in there and assign them there, and everyone's like, wow, Tegan, you're really psycho. And I'm like, yeah, do your
You're like
task.
organized is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is
Wow.
what we do. The only thing that I can't do is I can't lead a meeting and take notes. Like I can't be talking and taking notes. I can only do one or the other. Like I think I'm a very active listener. So I'm either like, I'm listening or I'm not. So we pick one or the other. So
yeah, that's very fair. And is this template like a Word doc situation, or like what do you use?
Yeah, it's Google Docs.
Okay.
So we use all Google everything. We have Google Drive, and we have a plan that's so large. We have unlimited Google Drive storage.
Okay.
So I don't know how much we pay for this plan. But yeah, so we use Google Drive and Google Docs, and then they all like link to each other.
Wow.
So you can assign tasks in the action items in a Google Doc, and it will show up in people's calendars because we use Google Calendars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again,
It's a whole little ecosystem.
Yeah, people are probably listening being like, yeah, I thought every company does it this way. But this is news to me. I've never seen that in action. Like, I feel like I always work for very Microsoft-oriented companies. So
that's the worst.
Yeah. However, I have started using OneNote. So when I was in office, I would handwrite all of my notes. Like I'm an avid note taker as well. No template or anything, but I write down everything. Even if it's like, I know I don't need this, or if they're like, we're going to email the deck after, I'm still writing down like all the important information from the deck and the voiceover. But I used to handwrite. And then when I started working from home, I had no idea what to do because it didn't make sense to be handwriting anymore for whatever reason. So I started typing my notes, and you guys are going to think Tegan knows how like outdated I am with technology, I guess, but I feel like I'm just really exposing myself. But I didn't know where to put these notes. So I would just have draft emails, and I would put in the subject line, like the meeting. And then I would obviously sometimes lose my draft emails. Either they would get erased, I would accidentally delete them. And I was like, the system is not working. So when I was at my last job, the VP of digital, I really, really liked him. And in like our first one-on-one, he asked me, how do you keep organized? And I was like, I'm honestly looking for a better system. I don't know if I admitted to the draft emails or not, but he was like, you should check out Microsoft OneNote. And I was like, I have seen this app literally for years, and every time I open it, I have no idea how it works. I don't like it because it's overwhelming. It doesn't feel intuitive. But then I started playing around with it, and now I love it. Again, if you're not a Microsoft person, you're like, no, girl, trust me, it's not good. But if you are, or you have OneNote on your computer, like it might be worth actually playing around with it, because essentially you can have like different, I don't know the terminology, but say like different tabs, I guess, within it. And then maybe not even tab, but within like different, I don't know, books or workbooks. And then you can have different tabs within the workbook. So I have one for meetings, and then I have like our reoccurring meetings as different tabs. So we have like a weekly insights meeting, we have like a manager's meeting, my team meetings, and then I have another workbook for touch bases with my team. And then I have a tab within that workbook for every single person on my team who I have weekly or bi-weekly touch bases with. And it's just so organized, and I love it so much. But again, it's probably not revolutionary, but it's fairly new to me, so I wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's very similar to the way when I was in university, I would use Apple Pages, like whatever the built-in app is for lectures. So it would be like every class would have its own document, and then within that there would be like different pages or however it's set up that would be like for each lecture. So they would all be in there and searchable. But yeah, right now we're doing all like each meeting is its own separate doc in Google Docs, and then they're all housed in their own folders.
Right.
And we have like templates for everything. So every new project, you just copy over the template, and it will have like, here's where the meeting notes go. Here's where the contract goes. Here's where this, that, whatever. And then, so all of our meeting notes should look the same and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I love that. I'm also noticing, if you're watching this on video, how dark my apartment is. I'm so sorry. I forgot that summer is unfortunately ending and it now gets dark at 8 p.m. when we're recording this. So I might go turn on my light.
Sad.
Otherwise, I might just embrace the spooky vibes.
The vibe. Yeah. Almost Halloween.
Yeah.
Although I will say my entire TikTok's all Christmas right now.
Oh my God, really?
We've bypassed Halloween.
Wow,
yeah, it's
I
weird.
haven't seen Christmas yet. But anyways, if you're not watching this on video, you're probably like, wait, what? And if you're on Spotify, just open the video for a second to see how dark it is around here. I feel like a midnight gamer, but recording the podcast.
Yeah, you need some neon lights behind you.
Anyways, okay, I do think we're kind of getting to the end of this anyway, but going back, I totally side railed the conversation, but going back to the whole like notebook, notepad situation, I also swear by sticky notes, which is probably not a surprise to anybody, knowing I'm a big agenda, meal planner, stationery gal. I obviously love sticky notes as well, but I find these are extremely helpful for like reminders. So if there's something I know I'm going to forget, I write it on a sticky note and stick it to my monitor. Or if it's at the end of the day where it's a reminder for me tomorrow, I'll write it on a sticky note and stick it literally like on my keyboard or on my computer so I don't forget. But I also find it a great way to like emphasize something or write a temporary note in my notebook or in my agenda. So also just wanted to mention that while we were on the topic of stationery.
Yeah, I agree. I love a good sticky note. Like I am a very digital person. My calendar is completely digital. All of my notes are completely digital. But like I said, my time tracking, I do in a notebook. And then if I'm working on a project that has like either feedback or like I'm doing an interview and I'm writing down the questions, for some reason that has to be written out physical. I think just because all the work's digital, so I need to have some physical element.
Right.
And then I'll use sticky notes to mark like which pages are related to a project. So like I have my notebook here. You could see it's like all my little sticky notes for the pages, but I am probably like 75% digital, 25% in my notebook, but I just always need to have a notebook because you never know if you have to write something down.
Yeah.
I think the next items I had were all sort of like clothing related, which I know you had a bunch of, Sadie. So I'll just mention a couple things. Number one is comfy shoes. This was like the biggest thing when I got my first like adult job because I had only ever worked in fast food. So it's like you wear like safety restaurant shoes that are non-slip. But then I got an adult job and I'm like, I can wear whatever shoes I want. And then like after a month was like, okay, let's figure out a pair of like stylish, comfy shoes. I think at that time I bought like Stan Smiths or like classic white girl shoes, which are still a staple. I love like a good running shoe if they're like nice, not like your shoes you actually wear running. Like, I don't know. I've got my Sambas or whatever they are, something comfy. I also love like comfy boots or comfy like flats, things like that that are sort of neutral, go with everything. You can stand all day if you need to. And the other thing is I love a scarf. And this could be something that like you keep in your bag, but I am always cold no matter what. So I love to have a scarf, whether it's like for my commute, I can be like wrapped up. If it needs to be like at my desk, I'm wrapped up, whatever it is. So I wanted to mention those.
I love it. I think my clothing items are kind of like a mini work capsule wardrobe, if you will. So I had a black blazer, a white button down, and a knit sweater for tops. And I feel like these are just things you can mix and match to form like quite a few different outfits, even just with like those items alone. Maybe throw in a few like basic tees or blouses. But I find keeping my like workwear simple, but then elevating it with accessories is kind of the route I take. And I find that just is the most like manageable, especially if you're someone going to the office like many times a week and need to put together like 5 professional outfits. Like maybe just keep them basic, but then play around with the accessories. I also, I guess for the bottoms, I had nice jeans. I feel like, I don't know if this is just me or if everybody feels this way, but I feel like wide leg and dark wash jeans, like together, wide leg dark wash jeans, are so chic looking and so like sharp and professional. I don't know what it is, but I feel like that's a really great pair of jeans to have on hand, as well as a black wash denim. So wanted to mention that. And then if you don't wear jeans or your company doesn't allow jeans, which, hello, it's 2024. I think we should all be wearing jeans. But in any case, having a nice like pant, like a trouser. I have plaid pants. I think I have one or two different plaid pants that I absolutely love. But also having like a basic black or gray or navy is a safe bet as well. And then the last thing I had is a midi skirt, and I have both a pleated skirt and a satin skirt, both of which are like not quite maxi, but more midi length. And I feel like those are really nice. And again, it's, I don't know, just more versatile, I guess. You can wear it with that knit sweater or with the blazer or the white button down, but just a couple different bottom options that are like very professional looking, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that. Totally agree with having like a bunch of staples that you can then mix and match. That is definitely how I get dressed when I go to the office. I'm not a morning person, if you couldn't tell. And yeah, it needs to be as simple as possible. So sort of related to that, I think having like a 5-minute makeup routine with like simple products that you know work can be really great. That used to be my routine when I went to the office, where I'm not like a foundation girly, so it was just like concealer, blush, mascara, eyebrow gel, and like a neutral lipstick, and we were ready to go. Something that you can do like in your sleep is another essential.
Totally. Okay, I think the last two items in my list are just for fun, like cute little things that make my workday a little bit more enjoyable. And the first is having like a cute desktop background. I think we've mentioned this in a few different work episodes before, but just a way to like personalize your work computer, bring a little bit of joy to your space. I just find that is one of the best ways I do that. And people always comment on my desktops now at the office, which I find funny. Like, I'm known to be the girl with the cute desktop backgrounds, but I get pretty much all of mine from the Every Girl. For a while, we were posting monthly desktop backgrounds on our Patreon, but I have fallen off with all the Patreon content the past few months, so I apologize, but we will bring that back. Who knows? Maybe for September. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is newsletter subscriptions, which I have also mentioned in previous work episodes, but I subscribe to the Newsette and to the Gist, and they're just fun ways to like keep me on top of my, I don't know, pop culture, and the Gist is like sports dedicated, but it's just like a way to like reading material that I look forward to in my inbox every morning. I always give my work email, which maybe you're not supposed to, but I don't know. It's just an email I enjoy getting every morning. I often go through my inbox at the start of every day while I'm drinking my coffee. So it's like spending 5 minutes reading that fun email brings me joy. Or you could also, if you didn't want to do that, or you didn't think that was work appropriate to be sending to your work email for whatever reason, I feel like every single industry has some sort of like industry related newsletter that you could subscribe to. So for instance, I'm sure I'm missing out by not subscribing to like social media specific newsletters or like advertising media type newsletters. So that could also be an option as well.
Yeah, I love that. I recently got into Apple News. So I'm an Apple News girly now, which has been great.
I love that
I
for
do my
you.
little crossword
and you've
morning.
been sending me articles, and I feel like I'm becoming more educated just because you're getting like, you know, you're doing the news scroll.
Yeah, this is all a part of my no social media before bed, which if you've listened to this podcast, you're like, girl, yeah, we get it. But that's why I got into it. So definitely love that. The other thing I wanted to mention was I also love the Every Girl desktop backgrounds. I always set it up the same, where my second monitor, they always do one that's like a manifesting collage. So that's always my second monitor. So I could look at that. And then my first monitor is always just like a vibe. But I also love picking a good like work playlist depending on what your vibe is. I am a fan of lo-fi. I know my husband loves like classical movie scores. So I know there are like coffee shop ones, whatever it is, having that on hand can really help. I'm someone who's easily distracted by sounds. So this is why I need like the big headphones and I need my playlist blasting. So have that on hand. Every time I get a new computer, I'm like, get Spotify on this computer right now. So yeah.
I love it. It is so dark in here. The universe is like, hey, wrap it up. It's bedtime.
Yeah, you're done. That's funny. Okay, well, we will wrap it up there. We put out a new episode every single Tuesday. So if you like this episode, make sure you are following us and subscribe to us so you see when those new episodes drop. If you're listening on Spotify, you can actually leave us comments now. So leave us a comment if you'd like. Give us a rating if you'd like. So definitely check that out if you're listening on Spotify. You can also follow us on social media. We are at our Golden 20s on almost all of the platforms. We also have a Patreon page, which is the best way to show your support for the podcast. And we put up all the episodes there ad-free. So if you listen every week, definitely something to consider. I think that's everything. Thanks so much for listening.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.